To me, wellness is recognizing things that are going on with us physically, mentally, emotionally, and being able to keep us in a healthy place. My weight was a thing where I did notice that I was digging a hole for myself and I desperately needed to find a way to get out of that hole. That's another thing about wellness as an outlet. Getting to beat my drums, getting to write hardcore songs because like that's also expression, deep cathartic expression. Compassion is the biggest thing. You have to love your fellow man. You have to love doing helping people. You absolutely have to.
Welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. We're bridging the gap between mental health, wellness, and rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Hey, are you feeling a little stuck in life? I offer wellness coaching sessions. Book a session with me if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead. Sessions are available worldwide. And check this out. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We've simplified your shopping experience and given you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. And did you know all our Collaborative Resource Hub interviews air on YouTube as well as all major podcast platforms? Subscribe to stay in the loop. Go immerse yourself in the full Collaborative Resource Hub experience over on our website. You'll have access to helpful resources that will inspire and educate you. So let's inspire each other. If that guy did it, so can you. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer. Nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance. Tim, how are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'm excited to talk to you. So your band, former band, the Lillingtons, how would you describe your music to someone that hasn't heard any of your stuff before?
I would say like everybody calls us pop punk. So very Ramones driven, just in the very same vein as that band, in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think that's a good description. I agree. Okay, that's the music conversation. Now we're going to jump into wellness.
Okay.
What does wellness mean to you?
I think wellness, like the first thing that just popped in my head when you said wellness was like self-care, self-preservation. To me, wellness is recognizing things that are going on with us physically, mentally, emotionally, and being able to keep us in a healthy place.
Yeah. I guess, was there ever a time in your life where you had to kind of prioritize your health in one way or another?
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of people know, especially through social media at one time. I mean, I'm still on a fitness journey. My fitness journey will be ongoing. I've had wins, I've had losses and stuff, but the thing is that I keep plugging away. At one time, it was very extremely heavy, and my health was like going downhill pretty bad. Like I would dare to say like I was heading for like congestive heart failure, where I was starting to see like my legs swell up, and that's a sign, like pedal edemas are a sign of like congestive heart failure. So um I was showing early signs of that. So just I recognized that, and I think out of more like at first it was more out of being angry with the intervention I had of people that says, hey, we're worried about you,
Mhm.
that I got myself into a gym, and luckily I found a gym where I hit it off with the gym owner, and like they really cared about me. They really wanted to see me. I know a lot of people are about like, buy our protein shakes, buy our, this or that, and a lot of like quote unquote broness happening, in the gyms, and but this gym owner, Nate, he really cared about me and texted me and called me and kept me motivated and interested in the gym, and I lost a grip of weight there, so for me, my weight was a thing where I did notice that I was digging a hole for myself and I desperately needed to find a way to get out of that hole.
Yeah. So in addition to like going to the gym and exercising, did you make other lifestyle changes also, or just mostly focus?
Definitely. Um, I think a lot of band people always get mixed up in recreational drugs, partying and things like that. I definitely had cut the partying out. I had, like started eating cleaner foods, giving up, fast food. One of the things that I really stick to is like, I'm a sucker for like energy drinks or sodas and stuff. And I cut out like, it's like if I have a soda now, it's just like one of the 0 calories sodas or a 0 calorie energy drink. But I never ever go back to like regular stuff. I mean, I was true. I don't want to lie. Every once in a while I do have, but it's not like I get back on into that, like consuming like 4 Mountain Dews, 5 Mountain Dews a day or something like that.
Is that what you were doing before?
Yeah, I think so. I think like a normal routine for me would be like wake up and drink one of those big tall Red Bulls, and I was drinking Red Bull with my meals, drinking it all the time because like when we were on the road with the band, like all that stuff was free, being in our dressing rooms and stuff. So I was like really probably doing a lot of damage to myself, like consuming that stuff. And that's like another thing too, is like when bands start to do well and you have to really kind of like have self-control over, because there's like a lot of freebies a lot of times and stuff, and somebody can get really carried away with gluttony, by just having all of this stuff available.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Was there anyone else in the band that was also trying to be like aware of, self-control, or was it mostly you doing that or what?
Well, I would like to say that everybody was, but I don't know. That's a hard one to answer because I do know like that, I'd have band members that would like go through waves of like, hey, I'm gonna be healthy on this tour, and but all that stuff kind of like, like anything goes out the window.
Yeah.
One night of drinking kind of was just like, opens Pandora's box.
Yeah, you're like, ah, fuck it. What's the point? Can keep like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I'm drunk. Let's go get a large pizza each, and we'll have a pizza eating contest.
Okay.
I will just tell you like how crazy we got, like how it was. Is like I know one night, I kid you not, we were drunk. I think we were in Texas. All of us had like tore one off and were dropped off at our hotel. We were hungry, and we were drunk, and we ordered 100 cheeseburgers from McDonald's and had it door dashed to us and sent over to us. And we woke up to probably about 90 cheeseburgers like all over the room. So
Wait, so you guys didn't even hardly eat them? Or you
no,
were
we
buying
yeah
stuff?
we ate them and passed out and woke up, and there was, but I mean, like I said, that's like the kind of stupid stuff that, and that was like the first time I remember, like we ordered like a bunch, maybe it was like 100, maybe it was um, White Castle. But I know like one time was McDonald's, like an obscene amount of McDonald's, and then one time was an obscene amount of a White Castle. I just remember waking up the next morning and like after the White Castle episode, and it was just like all you could smell was those onions through that, and I was like, ugh, get it out of here.
Ew.
So I would like to say that yes, they did work on it, but I wasn't really like aware of like, I mean, I never saw anybody work out. I mean, I took
Yeah,
workout gear and worked out on tour and stuff, but for the most part, like, everybody's adults, so just let them do their own thing.
right. So what does eating healthy look like to you now? And how much water do you drink?
Oh man, well, water for me, we have a love-hate relationship. So I carry my tankard with me when I go to work. When I'm out on my ambulance, I take it with me. And if I'm mindful of it, I will like go through like I want to say like 102 ounces, so try to get through like I think 102 ounces a day. I know my tankard's like 32 ounces, I think is what it is.
Okay.
But there are days like that I'm running the gun so much that it's coffee and an energy drink about 11 o'clock and stuff, because sometimes it's just I need to keep those senses, my critical thinking like on point and stuff. So
Yeah.
um I could be better at drinking water. My wife will be the first one to say, yeah, that boy does not drink as much water as he should and stuff, and she's always harping on me about doing it. um
Also, electrolytes, like my company sells supplements. And so, for example, like the one that we sell, as opposed to Gatorade, but
uh,
like really good electrolytes, with water can have a very similar effect as like an energy drink or something, because it's oxygenating your body and it's actually like putting life back into you. So
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that. Like when I was doing like my IV class and stuff, we would put IVs in ourselves and let like a lactated ringer go through us, and that's got electrolytes in it. And
yeah.
it's like, oh, I feel so good. But we're gonna have to get some of those electrolytes from you and try those out. And my wife she was a road cyclist, so she likes to discover new things like that. And my one of my great friends, Sean, I call him my career Sherpa because he's a punk rocker. He's a yoga teacher. He's a road cyclist. He was a professional like cyclist at one point, and he's an engineer for Pueblo Fire Department. And Pueblo is about an hour south of me. And so when I met him at a Lillingtons show in Salt Lake. He came to see us. And when I went through EMT school, he hit me up as a fan saying, hey, I am a firefighter if you need any help with your EMT stuff. So we became really, really good friends. And then he, sat down and saw like, I just love that guy because I could see like how much compassion that he has for people and stuff. And so he always hits me up for like, things to get me healthier. And he same thing, like he'll talk to you about supplements or, electrolytes, drinking water and stuff. And so, yeah, he's always sending myself or my wife like things about like, hey, you check this out. This will help you
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And so what does food like look like to you now?
So food. Well, wife's a vegan. I am not. So I will eat vegan food, like, if she makes it and stuff. If it doesn't look too strange to me, I will have it. But for the most part, I like the stuff that she makes. We try to eat like just like whole foods.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen though. I have to be truthful and say like it always doesn't happen. Um, because in our system, like when I start a shift at the fire department, I do 8 to 15 calls a day, and just depends on what I'm involved in during that time frame. My mood changes from call to call. Like it really depends on like what I have been on, and a lot of my calls are just they're very simple, like someone that has allergic reaction or a homeless person who has called us for the fifth time today because they're wanting to get access into the hospital because they're shelter seeking. So but there are those ones that we have to go and or like we have to go and determine that's an obvious death, and have to be there with the family while they lost a loved one and stuff. So sometimes it's good. I make good chases. Sometimes again, it's like I'm just gonna have a slice of pizza because that last call really like gut punched me. So,
Yeah. But I mean,
but
you got to just like it's just a matter of making the best decision you can, and then in the next opportunity, see if you can make a better decision. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you got to just
yeah,
have
so
to yourself.
I Nate had always told me he was like, a lot of people like fail at diets and lifestyle changes because they put blinders on, and they are just like so like hyper focused on something that they ended up falling off because it was it got to be too much. I like subscribe to a food company called Fast Fit Foods. They're like meal prep,
Oh,
and
cool.
so it's all whole food and stuff, and they have them delivered to my door, and I'll take those with me, and so I have like my little breakfast that's so many carbs and calories, and then I have my lunch. I think I have lunch around 11 o'clock or when I have time to eat it, and then at 3 o'clock I stop eating because I do intermittent fasting,
Right on.
and that helps me sleep better. I feel better in the morning when I wake up. So that's kind of what I do.
Here's an advert in less than 20 seconds. Did you know that Wellness Provisions offers one-on-one wellness sessions? Yep. So if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead in life, but feeling a little stuck, then book a session and let's get you unstuck. Now back to the interview. How has being a first responder, I guess, kind of like, how's that impacted you or changed your perspective on how you see things now? Or
Compassion, 100% compassion. I think when I was in the band, like it's really easy to lose sight of yourself. Really easy to lose sight of yourself. It's Really easy to get a big ego on you. It's
Mhm.
really easy to kind of put a little bit of venom in your words when you're talking to people, kind of, like be on the prickish side sometimes, just because you can get away with it. And I think that, I think Lillingtons being done was like one of the best things that could have happened to me to kind of reset and kind of like knock me back down to like a humble, uh a more humble level, I guess. I don't know. But compassion is the biggest thing. You have to love your fellow man. You have to love doing helping people. You absolutely have to. Like, I don't care one bit for people who I get, like, I've had partners that, as soon as we're done with the call, they are absolutely have no love for like the situation or the person and stuff, and you can tell that they've been in EMS for a while and they need to get out of EMS. When you stop caring about people, that is not the right career choice for you anymore.
Yeah, I guess there has
Yeah.
to be a balance between, I mean, because you can't over care, but you have to have some empathy and compassion. So, I mean,
Well,
yeah, I guess there's kind of a balance.
when you like respond to, like, say, a homeless camp, or you respond to like downtown, and there's a guy that's laying there, and he's been like, he smells like he's pissed his pants. So he just smells like, bad because he's pissed himself so many times and stuff. You have that choice to be a dick, or you have that choice to be a caring human being. And you need to make that choice to be a compassionate human being, because they still have, you need to let them have their dignity. You still need to, like, you know, let them have whatever shred of self-respect that they have, instead of like tearing them down and making them feel even worse than where they're at, they're in their life.
Yeah, they're a human. We're all human. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've ran calls on the same person numerous times, and we're just like, you're killing me, man. But every time, like, we're there, we have that serious talk, being like, listen, yes, we're annoyed that this is the seventh time we're seeing you today. But do you need something? Can I do something to help you? Is there someone I can call? Is there somewhere where we can take you? That, and that's the same thing. Like, all the things that's at the core, you have to be compassionate.
hmm Yeah.
So,
And so patience, how do you navigate patience? Or are you just like, do you always have great patience? Because I imagine that's something that can be challenging.
well, I like to say that was something I had to find again too, because I know in the band version of Tim, there was like, I lost my patience quite a bit, and again, I think that just had played into, because I could be a spoiled guy, like a prima donna and stuff. Like, I kind of like rode that wave a little bit. I want to say that, I think patience is also learned, and there is, you kind of have to go through some growing pains and things. I've had different partners that, so I work for Colorado Springs Fire Department, and that is kind of like the elite of the elite for fire departments in Colorado. That's like, most people don't get that opportunity. It takes people a couple years to get hired on, because it's such a sought after department to work for, and I'm hitting my year mark. I'm a baby EMT, so I'm hitting my year mark next month, and
Wow.
I got in. And so I think, like, you have to learn things. And so, back to the patients, like, my other job was at a private ambulance that was on a military base, and I would have a different partner every shift. Every time I come in, it might be someone new. I never had a study partner, where I do at Springs Fire. I have the same person over and over again. Um, but the over there different, and sometimes there's conflicts, personality differences and stuff, and that's a learning arena there, because it's like, even though I don't agree with what this person's telling me, what they're saying, and we're not talking about anything medically related. I'm just talking about there's what they believe in, their opinions and everything. It's just like I'm here to get through this shift and be professional and stuff. And so there are times you gotta be, really patience has to come into just being like, sometimes, just, you know,
What do you
shaking your head yes and smiling and saying, cool.
Yeah. Do you just do you give yourself that space to like, breathe, so to speak, or do you actually do like breathing? Like, is there anything that helps you just like not snap?
Um, I do I go I when I'm in a situation, I mean, I'm a pretty reactive person. Like I get very passionate, very emotional about stuff, and I'm a big guy, and I'm sure I scare quite a lot of people when I get emotional, and I always like now like try to take that breath and count. And I don't count. I just think about stuff, and I kind of try to what I try to do is I try to see it from their perspective. I try to see like because things get lost in context, they get lost in translation. They may have like said it out this way and it was taken the wrong way. So I have to understand why how it's being presented to me. So I really don't have any, most of this time when people like say grind my gears or stuff, it might be at the end of a 24-hour shift when I'm hearing somebody talk about their favorite president, over and over and over all day, and with that, like I had all the, I was LDS, I was raised LDS and I served a Mormon mission. And I had 2 years that I lived another person sleeping in the same room as me, going and being outside my bathroom door as I was easy. We were we were inseparable. And that prepared me to get along with others. Being in a van constantly all day with people, teaches you to get along with others, and the band's cool because most people you kind of, I guess, think alike. You're only the same thing,
Yeah.
but the mission really prepared me to allow me to get along with people that didn't have the same views as me or the same opinions and stuff. I am a big supporter that everybody's allowed to have their opinion, no matter what. Whether you support this president, you support that president, I believe you have that right. And I might not agree with it, but I agree that you have that right to have that opinion and stuff,
Exactly.
And I'm like a person that being like, well, don't tell me to clean up the dog do in my backyard, and I won't tell you to clean up the dog do in your backyard, kind of live and let live type thing. So
Yeah.
with patience, I just, smile, nod, and even if I don't agree with it, I just make it so there's no, awkward moments or tension.
Good. Cool.
So
Have you ever struggled with or dealt with any kind of like mental health imbalances or anything like that?
sure, I still do. I struggle definitely with depression. I did struggle. I was never diagnosed, but I think I do have a little bit of um, bipolar, bipolar disorder. I have, and I don't know how to explain it other than I have super highs and very lows. I don't have, um, it's almost like I call it my pipeline of life. And in my pipeline of life, I have all these things I'm looking forward to, all these goals, all these different things, that I look forward to, that kind of take me to this moment, to this moment, to this moment. But at times when the pipeline isn't full, I wake up and I have we call it here in our home, we call it a case of the blahs, where it's kind of like fuck all. Like
Mhm.
I have I'm just like, I don't care if the world ended today. I don't care, like I don't care about anything. I just do not feel like anything is worth anything. Nothing is exciting. Nothing is, and
Mhm.
that lasts like a day or two. And we recognize that. And I do things like get an exercise, and things like that to get the endorphins kicking and, they get rid of that. But, um,
And
you
it
know,
does, when you exercise, you do feel better after?
Yeah, yeah, and it definitely helps to recognize that. When I have a case of blahs, I definitely convey that to my wife and say, I have the blahs today. There's certain things that will trigger it for me. I mean, Walmart triggers for it for me a lot. We live in a pretty diverse neighborhood, and we have a Walmart that's not too far from us, but like I will get out and go into the store and grab something, and I look at everybody around me and I see where they are in life, and it absolutely depresses me. And I come out of that store absolutely upset that I'm just like, these people, it's not going to get any better for them. This is, like this is it, this is the best life, and it really makes me sad and really, really upsets me. I have a very, very soft spot for homeless and less fortunate people. And like, it really upsets me. Like, like for whatever, I hate Walmart. It's a necessary evil, like, because it's a
Uh-huh.
store, but like, just when I look at people and how hard they're working, how hard they work and what they're working, and that's all they have, or that's what they can afford, it absolutely, it's upsetting.
Yeah, well, that's like, everyone talks about like, oh, let's go people watching, or we like, whatever. That has always like broken my heart. I think that's awful because I feel like you're just judging people and like make laughing at people. And I'm like, what if that's all they can afford? Or, what, like, whatever this, it just makes me sad to like,
Yeah, I get really mad because, like I said, we live in a very diverse neighborhood. We live South Colorado Springs, and that's where the more affordable homes for us. Colorado Springs is like Denver, like it's very, very expensive now, very expensive. It's like almost California, like, so like everybody, California is moving out here, so like everything is so expensive, and everything rolls kind of downhill. So Denver's becoming overpopulated, the prices are so expensive, so the people that live there can't afford it, so they move to Colorado Springs, and it starts the problem all over again.
uh-huh.
But we notice things where, when we lived in a more wealthier neighborhood, when we first moved to Colorado Springs, our Walmart there had like all the pristine produce, like everything was pristine, pristine, pristine. And then our Walmart now that we have has like we call it seconds and thirds. It's got the
Uh-huh.
damage, not as good, not as good, And we're just like wondering, because this is more of a less economical viable area, that they're getting like the stuff that's not as good as quality, and that stuff, we notice that, and that's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
What aside from exercise, what other things have helped you or do help you kind of like pull yourself out of your lull, the blah?
Crying.
Really?
Crying, yeah. Yeah, for sure. A lot of people like have like a hard time to admit that, like they don't want to admit that they cry and stuff. Crying is very cathartic. um I always feel better after, like I've bottled some stuff up, and having to leave a good cry. Talking to people, I talk
Yeah.
to my wife like a lot. My boss Larry at the private ambulance company, Larry, I talk to him quite a bit. He's always like, you always go on bad call, if there's bad calls that you need to debrief or talk about and stuff. um he always recommends talk to somebody else in EMS about it, because I try not to bring that stuff home and being like making that all that negative stuff that you see, like bringing that into the home. So I share it with, like, if I need to, share it with my boss, who's also an EMS, who also has gone through those experiences and stuff. But crying is, and talking to people, I make it an absolute thing is to talk to someone about my, how I'm feeling, or what's going on. Like, I'll call Sean up, the engineer from Pueblo, and talk to Sean. This is how I'm feeling, or this or that, because they've all gone through those type of things, and they understand, and there's really hard feelings that you have to process, else, like, EMS has like a very high suicide rate, and I definitely knew that going into this, but I also want to be very aware that I don't become one of those people that, becomes so sad that, it heads that way, and I don't
Right.
think I ever will, because I feel like I'm really good at recognizing stuff, and being expressing how I'm feeling, and reaching out to people when I need help.
Yeah. You're staying on top of it. Like you're managing your feelings.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff like, you know, like right out of the gate, like my first day, like I went to a station and I went on a call with them, and we responded to a hotel room, and we were called to a baby that stopped breathing, and since that was my first day, I'm just there observing and stuff. But to watch the medics work a baby that is blue, that was a phone call that I had to make after, like I was pretty well. Like, the baby, they got the baby breathing again, but like in those moments, like when you have like people exiting this world and you're just sitting there and all you can do is like, please, 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 please. Like, I think every single firefighter in that room was just like saying under their breath, please, please come back, please come back. Everybody's saying their little prayers and stuff. And it's just, your emotions are so elevated that, when you come out of there and that you have that adrenaline dump, all you want to do is just fall on the ground and cry. So, crying is definitely something that I do that helps out, but
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people like will turn to like alcohol and drinking, and I come home and have my proverbial, like shot of whiskey or beer or something, but nothing that's ever out of control, and so, but like I said, uh, out of all the bad stuff, there's so much good. There's so much more good that happens, and that's what makes it all worth it is, for that one bad call, we have like, 20 good ones, so, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And that your perspective, like you can have that awareness to, keep that in check because I mean, it would be easy, I would imagine, to just focus on all the shit. But if you can make a point to focus on the good, that's a big deal.
yeah, it is. I mean, it is absolutely. You have to like keep in perspective everything that you go through on a day. This happened, or this person, but they didn't die. We got there in time, and even though they might have complications or they might something else, they're alive. They're going to be able to see their family, and stuff. So you look for the positive in all of that stuff. you know
Yeah.
yeah, EMS can be a slippery slope. I think, like I said, have enough people around me that I can reach out, and definitely, I have people that we all check on each other too. We always pulse check and make sure that we're doing well.
Good. Is there anything else that you do, even if it's like, every few weeks or like once a month or something that really just helps you feel grounded and, just really like recharging yourself?
On my 3 days off, I'm making more of a point to get out and do things with my wife, that we actually get out and do things where, you know, at one point where, it'd be like come home and just want to loaf for 3 days, off or whatever and stuff. And no one ever feels good by just sitting on a couch and being a couch potato for 3 days. So 3 days come and go. You didn't have to do anything, but you just feel rotten because you didn't do anything, and you're like, oh, I just want to sit and do nothing. And when you got to do nothing, you're like, I should have done something. But we get out, we do stuff. I have right now, we have a little project that we're working on, that's made up of first responders. It's going to be like a new hardcore band, and it's called Responder. And that's the key, is like you have to be part of this band. You have to be a firefighter, an EMS, a nurse. You have to be part of the medical field somehow.
Mhm.
And it's just a group of guys that are punk rockers, that are also, in the EMS world. And we decided, let's put like a little band together that's going to be very like, no pressure and stuff. But we call it, everybody's like, they have like West Coast hardcore, East Coast hardcore. We're calling ours emergent hardcore. So ours is like a very like positive, once the idea is to be a very positive, uplifting, hardcore. We got some straight edge guys in the band. I thought it'd be cool to be like put out a 7-inch that has like how, on the back of the 7-inch shows you how to put a defibrillator on somebody or how to perform CPR, so.
You guys have to tour, and you need to like, retrofit an ambulance and tour.
uh, that idea has been passed around, and like right out of the gates I was like, no touring, just, because everybody's schedules are crazy. But like everybody's like, you have to do something, because like in the EMS world, or I guess the firefighter lifestyle and stuff, everybody has adopted the Dropkick Murphys as the band of firefighters, or the band of the EMS, and don't get me wrong, they're great guys. They're just not my band for. And I was like, Sean, we're gonna make Responder the band for our EMS people,
Yeah.
But It's just it's an outlet, and that's another thing about wellness is an outlet. Getting to beat my drums, getting to write hardcore songs, because like that's also like expression, a deep cathartic expression is getting to like let out some of those feelings, through music. So that's another big outlet for us in the whole wellness thing. That's how hopefully, will like become like a little kitschy thing for us EMS people and stuff, where we can, maybe do a record or something, and be like, this would be fun.
Yeah, that is so rad. And it can be like a maybe white vinyl with red splatter. So it's like
Yeah,
blood.
we're just like so many ideas. Like our stickers are gonna look like little band-aids, or
Oh, cool. Yeah,
like you get all kinds of crazy stuff that we can do, that's within it and stuff.
that's so
Like
fun.
literally we have access to like the resuscitation Annie dolls, and when you're going through school, they'll set up a vitals monitor, and they place this little diamond on the chest, right? And it attaches to the monitor. And when you're doing chest compressions, it tells you how well you're doing them, if you're doing them fast enough, if you're doing them deep enough. And the other night we were like, we should grab those, take it to a show, and like challenge people. And if they can do the compressions right for 5 rounds, we'll give them like a free T-shirt or something.
But you're bringing like awareness
Yeah,
to
we're teaching CPR, for a chance at a free shirt.
That's so awesome. I am I am excited. You guys need to get like a social media thing going so I can follow along with
We are on Instagram, so if
you are
responder. So yep, we have an Instagram page. No
awesome.
music, nothing yet, but we have an Instagram page. So
You got to start. That's
yeah,
good.
yep,
Um, so do you have a quote that you like a lot?
I do. I never like was a quotey person. I feel myself posting them the Facebook all the time now, because I see my brothers and sisters in EMS, always posting the quotes of like never give up, or always like answer the call, and stuff. My favorite one that I think that resonates the most with me is that you're a product of your environment, and surround yourself with like-minded people. So, and I say that because, truth be told, I feel like when I was in the band, my life outside the band was very stagnant. I feel like when you're in that band, you have band lifestyle. That's all it revolves around, is the band, and that
Mhm.
band people. Those are your friends. That's what you do. It's just band, 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 band. And when I started going to the gym, one of my best friends here is a Green Beret. I met him through the gym. Started, motivating me to work harder, push harder, keep going, telling me he's a combat medic. And he was like one of my, a very big supporter. He was the one who was standing behind me. You're not too old to go in to be a firefighter. You're not too old to be a medic. You're not too old to do this. That got me to go for it. And so I have a really great friend, Heather. Same thing. She went to the gym, single mother of two, just busted herself to like reinvented herself. And a unique thing about Heather and I, when COVID started, real quick, we were worried about our shop. We owned a screen print shop, and we were worried about making rent. And so I took a job briefly for doing security, and it happened right during the Black Lives Matter thing. And so I'm like a big guy, so they're like, we're posting you up at our most problematic Walmart out front. And I lasted 2 weeks, because you cannot engage with the people, but I was getting spit on, I was having things thrown at me, and I was being paid minimum wage to stand there to be abused. And the Walmart folks were not even, they didn't want to like look like they were taking the side of their security. So of course they come up, and I was always like the one that was in the wrong, here. And so at one point I was like, I'm done. So my friend Heather was a bell captain at a hotel, and I said I saw that she needed someone to drive her shuttle bus. So I was like, can I come drive your shuttle bus? She said yeah. So she hired me. That was like 3 years ago, and this is very special to us, is that we would sit in the back room of this hotel and daydream about she was like she was already through, I think, her EMT school. Hadn't even started, gone through, but I was just like saying, I admire you so much. I want to do what you do. I want to get into EMT school and stuff like that. And so I remember her and I sitting in the back rooms daydreaming about that. And it was really awesome. She's now a firefighter, works for Colorado Springs Fire also. But it was awesome of her and I like sitting back there talking about our hopes and dreams and goals and watching us realize it. She made it. And then it was kind of like I followed it. She blazed that trail and I came up behind her, because she also worked at a Steri, which is the private ambulance that's on the military base, the other job I had. So she worked there. I got hired on there. She got me hired on there, and then she went to CFFB, and then I was right behind her there also. So the other day, I actually like stopped at her station and we took a picture. It was the first time of us, both of us, in our like in our uniforms and stuff, and we were just like, talking about how crazy it was that like 3 years ago we were just two ordinary people sitting in the back of a hotel saying like we got to figure out a better a better way for ourselves. So definitely surround yourself with great people. Like I said,
Yeah.
when I came on to CFFD, I could have easily, it's a great job, very awesome job. I could have left my other job as Steri behind and made it fine with just the fire department. Kept it because my boss is such a wonderful person, that I can talk to and stuff, that has really like steered me in a very good path of making great choices and things like that. So I would say a lot of doors have opened up for me and my family because of the people that we surround ourselves with.
Yeah. Okay, this is like pretty much the last question. This is
Sure.
this is a one of my favorite questions because I always love the quote one. I love the answers and I love answers to this one. So the tagline for my business is delay dying. So I like to ask people, and I mean, here's an EMT. So like if you had to give someone tips or advice on how to delay dying, or in other words, just live happier and healthier, what would you say?
Talk to people. Talk to people. I think that's the biggest thing. That I think that encompasses a lot of things. Talking to people. Cut off your thumb, call 911. You're feeling sad, talk to someone. It's talk to somebody, talk to people. One of the last things that my band did was, before we decided to retire, was the last album we put out was, we were friends with a band called NMEU, and they were friends of ours since we were kids. I mean, we're in our 40s and we were friends with them at like 17 years old, and especially with their singer David Jones. And David struggled with like a lot of things, and at one point a while back he decided to take his own life. He came out of retirement, they played a couple shows and stuff, and then next thing we know he decided to end his own life. And we really like enjoyed having David around, and we really, Enemy U was a band that a lot of people slept on. They were a great band and they should have been bigger than what they were. He was a brilliant singer and songwriter, and we had decided that we were going to take David's songs, Enemy U songs, and re-record them. So we did a tribute to David Jones and Enemy U. David always wore this red hoodie everywhere, so our vinyl was red hoodie red. Like the vinyl was red for his red hoodie and stuff. And the proceeds of the album, it was put out on Red Scare. All the proceeds were donated to suicide prevention, and awareness and stuff. And so I would say it's saying something, talking to people. That applies to so many things. I would say healthcare is a thing that a lot of us struggle with, being able to afford healthcare, and like a lot of people that don't go because they don't want to have that bill. And we recently had a family member pass away that it kind of stemmed from them not wanting to go to the hospital and be checked out. So it's all about like, you know I know it's sometimes hard. People, you don't want to bother somebody with your problem and stuff, but be courageous and just say, hey, I want to. Can I share my feelings with you? Open your mouth, say something. Talk to someone. Whether it's anywhere from, like I said, calling 911 because you have an actual emergency to, like, I'm not feeling really great upstairs and I need to get these thoughts out, and maybe you can give me some insight on how I'm feeling.
What's your 2 cents on using social media as an outlet? versus connecting either in person or with your voice with someone?
Yeah, it's like six of one, half a dozen of the other. So here's the thing, like, truthfully, like, so like when we talked about me doing this, coming on and doing this interview, I was like really, really stoked. One of the things that I do like that grinds my gears is that, and I loved how you said it in the very beginning of the interview, is that we're not professionals, we're not like clinically licensed to do this or that, right? The things that like sometimes that I really like kind of disagree with is that the musicians who get like their band blows up and all of a sudden they have an opinion or they're the authority on something. I don't get that, and I don't agree with that. You're a musician and you make a musician. You're not an authority on mental health. You're not an authority on like this and that. I would say get professional help if you can get professional help. Talk to a clinically licensed person about it. If you can't afford that, talk to a friend. Social media is good. I know people do, we will say, make posts, I'm not feeling good, and then they have all their friends check on them and stuff. That can be half, sometimes just people looking for attention. But we always want to err on the side of caution. And if those posts come through, I've reached out to fans that I have never met in my entire life, but I couldn't probably live with myself knowing that I saw that post and they decided to exit this world because no one checked up on them. I had one guy the next morning. He says, "You don't know how much that meant to me that you reached out to me to check on me." We have to err on side of caution. I don't ever want to feel like I didn't have 2 minutes for somebody.
Yeah.
Everybody's important. So I think it's talking to people and getting therapists are great. Call a hotline, get anything, reach out, anything that you can. If you're religious, your church, your clergy, family, friends, coworkers, anybody that you trust.
Yeah, totally. Is
So
there, I guess, anything else you want to say to kind of wrap up, or anything that you want to make people aware of with music stuff or anything like that?
yeah, I want to say like thanks for having me on. One of the things that like my friend Ashley in Albuquerque, he's the one, I've seen the podcast before, but he's the one, he was like, "Tim, you need to be on this." He was like, "I'm going to try to set this up. I want you to be
Yeah.
on this." So thank you, Ashley, for making
Yeah.
this happen.
Shout out to Ashley for helping connect.
Yeah, but he's great. Like I said, I'm very thankful for all those in my life, that I surround myself with. Even though Lillingtons is done, I'm grateful for the memories. A lot of people will sometimes be shoulda, woulda, coulda, or be bitter that I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, or I didn't get to achieve this, and stuff. And like I said, me being able to step away and actually have that detachment from everything. I think I almost kind of call it like sobering up from band life, not like actually sober, but sobering up from that culture
Yeah.
that, you get to get your perspective back and you're like, man, that was silly, So, like I said, I still see people here and there. I still go to shows and stuff, if it fits my schedule and stuff like that. There are people that I keep at an arm's distance because I know that I can't have that person back in my life because that's not a direction I want to go back in, So I just keep charging forward and, keeping those people that keep me motivated in my corner.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm just happy for you how much it sounds like, obviously, how much you've evolved and the good things that you're keeping in your life and the people that you're aware of that you have. And uh yeah, this was, I enjoyed the chat and being able to, I don't know, kind of touch on some heavy stuff. So it was good. Thank you for all of
Yeah.
your contribution.
When I was like on my mission, we used to have this thing like my first night, my mission was hard. I was in a third world country and I was like, I have 2 years ahead of me and you don't get to talk. You get to talk to your family through letters. You don't get to call on Mother's Day and Christmas. And that's it. You have to get used to not having your family around, and like there's rules you got to follow and everything. And, like one of the things that I had above my bed was be the missionary that your mom thinks you are. Right. And so I apply that also to working, in EMS, be the EMT that your mom thinks you are. you know. So I know my mom thinks the world of me. I know that, she doesn't view me as somebody that's going out and being unempathetic or uncaring and stuff. And so I try to live that through what I do on a daily basis, is be the missionary that my mom thinks I am, or be the EMT that my wife thinks I am, just like, so it's not like just putting on a show. You have to live that.
Yeah. Values and integrity.
Mhm.
Thumbs up. Cool. Well, thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you for having me on.